Greetings and salutations. That's a summer way of saying, hi, how are you? Did you just see that fly go flying past
I know,
me?
yeah, there's a fly in the studio.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you not, do you need to get,
I am a really great fly killer. You've seen that before. You've seen me in action, right?
what are you, Danny LaRussa?
Sorry, I wasn't expecting this after a week away that we would start the show with this, but there is a fly in the studio here.
It's like that episode of Breaking Bad, the worst one, right?
How did this even get in here?
The fly?
Well, we have one
Well, look
outside
at you. You're
door.
a walking trash disposal. Are you kidding me?
We have one
When did you
outside
shower
door
last?
that's over here.
Okay.
I mean, this is like a compound in here. Like, you need a key fob and all of that. I mean, you bang on the door or whatever. And Sean, who's actually running the board
That
for us
must be it
today,
when
lets you in. But I don't even know how a
Maybe it was
fly-
me that's the culprit.
No one ever props that door because an alarm goes off.
Well, Derek, they're very fast. I mean,
I guess. Before the end of the show today will be the end of that fly's life.
well,
I will make a guarantee on
well, they only have
show.
a one-day lifespan anyway, right?
Now, you're thinking of those mayflies that stick on your garage, like up in Michigan. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
They live for like 24 hours.
I've
and then
been
they
to
die,
Michigan
they
several
fall.
times,
They're
but
like
never in
leaves.
May.
They're everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah. Are we going to be able to do the show?
We're going to find out. It is episode 95 of Query and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network. How are you? Thank you for joining us. And Derek, 95 leads to, we usually associate a player.
Uh-huh.
I don't think he was 95 with the Colts.
He wasn't.
Richard Dent.
Yes.
Richard Dent. My two favorite trivia questions about the Pro Football Hall of Fame, what I always mention, they both relate to Indianapolis.
The members of the Indianapolis Colts who are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, nobody
Right.
thinks of – you think of Richard Dent as a Chicago Bear.
Right.
Essentially.
But the Hall of Fame in Canton, the player bust has underneath it the list of
List of
teams
all
of
their
service equally. So people say, like, so what team will, Peyton go in as?
Yeah, they don't do that.
It just says
Yep.
Indianapolis Colts,
It's not like
Denver
baseball.
Broncos. That's it. Right. Richard Dent listed as an Indianapolis Colt. You can go in and you can look up by team, and he comes up as an Indianapolis Colt.
That was a better trivia question 5 years ago before Dungy, Harrison, Edge, Peyton.
Correct.
When basically I think there were 3 Colts Hall of Famers, right? It was like Dickerson,
Falk. Right.
and Richard Dent, I think,
Right,
were the
yeah,
3.
you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, now tell me in terms of Indianapolis Colts.
Yes.
Because, Raymond Berry.
You know how I feel about the Baltimore guys.
You get
I'm
very
not trying to
upset.
be I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm not going to launch into that rant again. But
You
I
get
just,
very upset by that.
I don't care.
My other favorite trivia question, who is the only member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame born in the city of Indianapolis?
Ooh. Is Chris Dolman a Hall of Famer?
He is.
Then it's him, right?
How did you know that? We've
I'm
worked
just
together
really
a
smart.
very long time, right?
Yeah, I'm really smart. I had not heard that from you. I learned that that was just up here.
Earlier today, by the way, before we get into, and by the way, thank you, Luminati's. This is the Luminati studio. Bailey and Wood presenting Query and Schultz here. We'll tell you more about the fabulous people at both those places over the course of the show. But I'm coming back from Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
I was there last night. We're taping this on a Monday. I drove back from Iowa last night, walked in, and I said, okay, guys, trivia question. Like, the race ended at 5:15 Eastern time, and I drove back, and I had to stop in Brownsburg and return a rental car and get gas, and I got home, and da-da-da. What time did I actually lay my head down for bed? And you said?
11:47.
And you were exactly right.
Yeah.
That is so freaky to me.
That's a little weird.
Like
I was not there in your 2-bedroom apartment where you live alone. I wasn't there, so just to
Were you, like,
clarify.
waiting across the street just to make sure I made it home okay?
No, I mean I usually check in like nothing weird like good night or whatever, buddy, something like that. I'll text, but I don't.
How often do I return
anything
those?
Like that. Very rarely. I just assume you're asleep by the time that
Okay.
I do it. Yeah.
By the way, speaking of turning in for the night, the Colts are going to be doing that soon. I assume they all stay in the hotel by Grand Park, but man, how quickly things fly by. Training camp is here. Colts going to report tomorrow. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to the Colts. Derek.
There is, and it's exciting, right? I'm not trying to throw water on the whole thing. My training camp excitement lasts about 48 to 72 hours before I'm kind of like, okay, everyone's in the best shape of their life. Everyone looks great. Everyone's confident. Everyone's optimistic about the season. Like, it's kind of the same thing for all 32 NFL teams, but this is, I think, one of the first times, certainly in the post-Luck era, and you probably have to go back pretty early on. Maybe like 2015, right? Everyone was excited at the start of the 2015 season, and then ultimately, of course, that balloon ended up getting popped fairly quickly after that first game in Buffalo. Jake, this is the most excited I've been about a Colts season probably since then.
It's intriguing, certainly,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, but you've had, I had intrigue last year. I had intrigue with even Rivers. I think what's different about this year is that, and you tell me if you agree with this, the Matt Ryan storyline to me is kind of down the list. It's not number one.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Whereas Wentz was number one, Rivers was number one, Brissett was number one. To me, this is the first year where I haven't felt like the quarterback is a huge unknown.
I take that point to what you just said there. I take that as a compliment to Matt Ryan.
Me too.
Because Matt Ryan is intriguing because we know he's talented, but we also know with Matt Ryan, I think there's more certainty about him based on the consistency of his career. And is your phone on again?
Sorry about that. I just muted it. Go ahead. Here, we'll get that in post. 3, 2, 1. Go ahead.
Who is messaging you?
Well, we have a wiffle ball event coming up at ISC, and I was texting back and forth with Brendan Dudas, who's the head of that Circle City Wiffle Ball League. National champs, by the way.
Are you playing in it?
I'm not playing in it. I'm supposed to do play-by-play for it. Yeah.
Hold on.
ISC Sports Network, August 14th. Put it on your calendar.
And that's cool. But
watch for free, iscsportsnetwork.com.
But here's my question, Derek. Your wiffle ball career extends to when? You began playing wiffle ball at what age?
Oh, God. I began playing, like, the first time I swung a wiffle ball bat, I was like 4, probably.
Okay.
My career officially ended when I was a junior in high school.
You didn't even play as a senior?
I didn't because my parents took down the field. People started bringing over beer and cigarettes and all of that, and I had nowhere to play. So we closed.
You had the only wiffle ball field in Trumbull,
Connecticut? We
Connecticut?
closed Dan Jock Memorial Field.
But there are
in 2000.
There are no baseball diamonds in Trumbull?
No, you don't understand. You need specific dimensions for a wiffle ball field. It's different. It's not. You can't just play on like a little league field. It doesn't work that way. This was a professional league.
Okay. As the professional league, what were your accolades in said league?
Well, as the MVP, I was the Triple Crown winner first year. We were runner-up. The Trumballs were the runner-up to White Chocolate in the first Trumbull Wiffle Ball League Championship Series. Second year, Gavin got hurt. We put in Brian Cray, who talked a big game. He played high school varsity baseball at Trumbull High, but wiffle ball is just a whole different sport, and he never really acclimated. His swing, it just never really materialized for him. So we finished third in the 6-team league that year. And then my junior year, when we had things really humming, we were leading the league standings. People started, Frank Novak brought over beer. Somebody threw up in the back because they drank too much. And my parents said, okay, no more wiffle ball league. They were picking up cigarette butts.
It's like the strike of 94.
And other smoking material in the dugout area. And so they said, no more wiffle ball league. Well, not a dugout. We had a bench area behind. We had woods behind the field. And
my point being, with all of these incredible accolades of the Trumbull Wiffle Ball League and your downloaded website and all the other garbage that came with it, wouldn't you be a better color person for these broadcasts on ISC than play-by-play?
I do a little bit of both.
But if you are the star athlete that you claim, you should be the analyst.
Rudy Lyon, who is an accomplished whiffler. These guys are far levels above where I was in Connecticut. They've really, I like to think of it as we passed them the baton and they took it and ran with it. Like we were kind of the, respect your elders sort of thing, even though, different states, different regions of the country. But Rudy is going to be the color guy, I believe. At least he was with me last year when we did their All-Star game. Can we get back to the Colts? I don't want to completely derail the show here. We've got podcast listeners that have an expectation of what the content's going to be.
To your point, well, actually, it was derailed not by wiffle ball, but by the pinging of your phone. To the point about the Colts, for Matt Ryan, it is a credit, Derek, to the fact that his storyline is lower down the list because I think we know what the Colts are getting, and they're getting a good football player, and they're getting a quarterback that I think still has some gas left in the tank. He is not – I think we knew Phillip Rivers was a one-year stopgap. I don't think that we expect that of Matt Ryan. I think we think 2 to 3 years here, maybe 4.
Yeah.
And we'll see. But I do think when it falls off for him, it's probably going to fall off pretty quick. But there's still some time left there. To me, the biggest intrigue, left tackle, is Matt Ryan's experience and savviness enough to offset lack of what you have at the left tackle position? Receiver, Chris Ballard, very high on this receiving core,
Yep.
but he seems to be the only one. And probably tight end because
Yeah. Pass rush?
pass rush I like with the
Yannick Ngakoue, you feel better
yeah.
about.
I mean between Buckner and Ngakoue, Kwity Paye if he develops. I mean I think
Yeah.
they've got some pieces there that they can have a pretty good defense. I think their defense is going to be good.
Well, their defense is going to be good. I'm not disputing that, but they're not going to be great unless they develop a pass rush because their pass rush was non-existent last year. So this was a good to really good defense, but it was held back from being great because they couldn't create pressure with their front four.
What about the safety position? Nick Cross is a guy that's getting a lot of talk.
Yeah.
But we've seen this a lot, Derek. You've got to be skeptical is the wrong word, but I think we've got to be cautionary about the safety position or the defensive backfield of immediately saying, hey, Nick Cross is a guy that can come in and play right away because we've seen that before, and it's just a whole different level from college to the pro.
Yeah, and Rodney McLeod's on PUP. Blackman's coming back from the injury, even though he didn't start the year the camp on PUP, which is good. So hopefully I think they're going to ease him along. But that's an area where they're very thin. You know, cornerback they kind of addressed and went out and tried to fill out that depth chart a little bit more. Safety to me is kind of hanging by a thread a little bit. Not that Kari Willis is like some great player, but his retirement takes some of that depth out of the equation for you.
The other thing, when you look at just the Colts in the reporting and the positioning and everything else, Darius Leonard and his health.
Mm-hmm.
The Colts say, don't worry. He's on the PUP list, physically unable to perform list, but there are two kinds of lists. One says we can take you off this at any time. The other one is a list that affects you and you must miss 4 games of the regular season. He is not at that level. We were told when Darius Leonard had the procedure on his back that, in fact, was something that was going to carry him up to the regular season, but it was not going to affect his regular season. So as of now, Derek, no new news on the availability of Darius Leonard.
Yeah, but you worry about it because it just seems like it's always something with him. Even last year, he started all 16 games. 16 of the 17, he missed one for COVID, right?
Right.
So that wasn't injury related, but he played through. He was banged up essentially all year. So just because he was out there every game doesn't mean that he was 100%. And then, he's had back, neck, ankle. Just kind of off the top of my head, I'm going through some of the injuries that I remember over the 4 years that he's been here. You just wish they could get this figured out, get it healed, and get him out there because he's still a very effective player at 80, 90%. But
right,
you can imagine what he can be at 100.
His ability to make plays, turn the ball, get turnovers, I mean, they're very hard to replicate. And there are times, I know people have criticized that Darius Leonard, that perhaps his numbers are the benefit of a defense that funnels in towards him. Gary Brackett was one that we saw that with, that was a fine player, but it doesn't mean that he's a transcendent player. But look, Indianapolis is where he's being asked to play, so the system was such that Darius Leonard was making great plays. Does that mean that, like in a new system, he's going to be transcendent of that? We're going to have to find that out, right? But I do think that he is the central part of what they want to do.
I just think that you can imagine what's going to happen for him and even what's going to happen for some in the secondary, like Isaiah Rodgers' continued growth.
I do like Isaiah Rodgers.
If the Colts just, so much of it, Jake, depends on them developing pass rush. If the Colts even have an average middle tier pass rush, this is going to be a very good to great defense.
Right. By the way,
and everybody else stays healthy. I mean, that's obviously the other caveat.
Speaking of very good to great, we already know that Lou Malnati's has great pizza. They did a very good thing this past week. Great thing, right? In helping out some of our four-legged friends.
Yeah, thanks to Lou's for donating 20% of their proceeds last Thursday to Pink Heart Rescue, a rescue for blind and deaf dogs. I tweeted out some of the pictures of the very good boys and girls that are in that rescue. It just really pulls at your heartstrings.
Totally.
I mean, rescue dogs in general, but especially blind and deaf ones. They're just so gentle. Also, Metazoa Brewing. I know Shannon's a big fan.
Yep.
They were on board with that. But another event coming up this week for Lou's is Sunday. It's Pizza Run Indy.
That's this Sunday.
Yes. Registration is still open. PizzaRunIndy.com, 10 a.m., 5K run walk. Portion of the proceeds benefit Gleaners Food Bank.
Excellent.
So, again, we talk about it. Lou's getting involved with this show, getting involved with the community, getting involved with pet rescues, Gleaners Food Bank.
If you look right here,
they've done a wonderful thing getting into central Indiana and getting involved.
this tomato is basically the size of a tomato you get in Illuminati's pizza, right? Absolutely. Listen, people used to drive all the way to Chicago just to go to Lou Malnati. You going to Chicago? Cubs game? No. You going to the? No, not going to the Tower. Nope, not doing that. We're going for Lou Malnati's. That's what people would do driving from Indianapolis just to go get the best Chicago-style deep dish pizza, best pizza in general that you can get. Lou Malnati's has exactly that now with 4 central Indiana locations, including the Broderpool location where they had their fundraiser, and you can bring your 4-legged friends right there along the canal. The other locations are, Derek?
86th Street, West 86th Street, so right across from Brebeuf, basically in that strip, Carmel, Greenwood, and there is a West Side location coming as well.
And again,
so they're going to be up to 5 here pretty soon.
We're talking about a family business where the ownership collegiately went to Indiana.
Yeah.
So a little bit of home.
It's a great
love
slice
Lou
of pie.
Malnati's. Gives our city a little bit of a new flavor and
Order.LouMalnati's.com.
One more time?
Order.LouMalnati's.com.
Fabulous place.
The wings I want to try too. We haven't done that. Every time I go in there,
what?
I want to.
You want to try it, but then the pizza's right there.
But yeah,
like, come on. I mean,
the wings are on my list to try. I think maybe before next show, I'll go in there and try the wings.
Are you wearing your Hot Rod shirt because he might be gone?
No, he's not going anywhere.
You don't think so?
There's no reason. I mean, I wear this shirt because I wear this shirt all the time. It's no like political statement about how he's been treated terribly by the Colts management and their fan base. It has nothing to do with any of that. It's just because I like the shirt. People questioning his skill, people questioning his talent.
Did you say he's been treated terribly by the fan base?
Stardom. I think he's been treated terribly by everybody, honestly. I'd have a big chip on my shoulder if I were Rod. I think it's one of those things where when you stop appreciating him, you realize what you lost. Colts already went through that with Peyton Manning. I don't want them to go through that now with Hot Rod.
Wow.
And I'm worried that that's the case. But that has nothing to do with the shirt. I'm just wearing the shirt because I'm wearing the shirt.
Do you feel any connection to him?
As like an icon? I mean, yeah. He Hot Rod is the first person, I think this is kind of important. The first person that's really looked like me that's played professional sports. So I've always felt that connection with him. There weren't really any guys that were
Eddie
like
Goodell?
that. I don't know who that is.
Okay.
Yeah. Judd Bushler a little bit, maybe. Looked a little bit about like me, but yeah, that was the only other time where I felt like, okay, this person connects with me a little bit.
Okay.
Scott Brooks.
What athlete do I look like?
Blake Bortles is one that is
Andy Bennis?
that you look like. Yeah, Andy Bennis too.
Okay.
Evansville, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But Blake Bortles, somebody sent me Blake Bortles headshot
Wally
from like
Zerbiak?
the 2017.
I used to get
but
Wally Zerbiak.
Wally Zerbiak's got the big eyebrows though. It'd be like if you and me had a baby, that'd be Wally Zerbiak probably. Like no, not like, don't be weird. Like if we combined our gene pool and okay, maybe that does sound weird. Maybe we'll take that out in post. Sean, we'll grab that. 3, 2, 1. Wally Zerbiak's kind of the combination of you and me and our progeny. If we were to procreate, that would okay. What's it? 3, 2, 1. Yes, Wally Zerbiak. Sure, you kind of look like him. That's great. We got plenty more to get to here in episode 95 of Query and
Talk about
Schultz.
the two of us procreating together.
We just grabbed that in post, so
We
nobody
need to
knows
get the
what you're
Attorney
talking
General to have a little lesson plan for
Nobody
you.
knows what you're talking about. I don't want the Attorney General anywhere near this show or near me in general.
Okay.
Pacers in the news. Lakers trade goes nowhere, at least for now. We're taping this on Monday. Kevin Durant sweepstakes, not involved in the Pacers, but heating up. We'll have some NBA stuff and Byder Bobleep a little bit early on today's show for episode 95. It's Corey and Schultz. Stick around here on ISC Sports Network.
Hey, I'm Jeff Saturday, and my favorite thing when I was a professional football player was Indiana. The Hoosier State always made me feel like family. That's why I trust Indiana's hometown mortgage lender, Bailey & Wood. This family-owned company not only gives back to the communities they serve, but also with their 5-star customer service, they can close on your dream home in days, not weeks. So remember, Indiana, you can always get your mortgages at a snap with Bailey & Wood.
Hey, Jeff, how does this look? Yay!
Not bad, bud, but let's stick to mortgages.
Your life is on the go. Now your viewing habits can be on the go. With the ISC Sports Network app, your team is at your fingertips. You can download years' worth of content from the ISC Sports Network library. High school, college, special events, weekly and monthly shows, wherever you find your favorite app. And you can always find out more information at iscsportsnetwork.com.
Welcome back. It's Bailey and Wood Mortgage Lender presents Query and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network. I'm Derek Schultz. He's Jake Query. Thanks so much for Bailey and Wood for being our presenting sponsor. BAWFG.com, 855-350-HOME. I believe they're up to 16 now Indiana branch locations.
855-350
home. And they have their golf outing coming up August 11th. So
I need to put that on my calendar.
2 Thursdays from this Thursday. And you and I are going to be a little bit of a part of that. MCing, I don't know if MCing really is the right word. We're doing like a round table with some of the surprise special football guests that Mike has lined up there. And hopefully this will be a little bit different than the Big Ten football championship game, where the Big Ten had us come to the convention center.
Oh, that was wonderful.
Query and Schultz. And they had a stage, and I was under the impression that both Jake and I would be handling the interviews.
Right.
So they had like Eddie George and Ron Dane and Heisman winners and these Big Ten legends on the stage.
Lorenzo White was there, I think.
They bring Jake over there.
Oh, it's just one.
And I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, they're going to bring me next. They bring – and I thought it was odd. They told Jake to wear a suit and a tie, and they told me to just dress in whatever was comfortable. So
it was fun, but, man, it was just nonstop.
We get there to the convention center. I shouldn't be laughing because I'm still angry about it. It's been 10 years, and I'm still so angry about it.
They told me at one point, I'm getting ready to interview like Orlando Pace and Eddie George, and they're like, hang on, just in my ear. They're like, Jake, hang on just a second. We got to clear the PA. And then I heard.
So they bring Jake over there, and they bring me back by the soundboard. And the sound engineer, Barry was his name. I remember, nice guy. And he had like one of those like Polar Pops from the gas station that was like this big. And he's like, hey, here's the microphone right here. And I'm like, oh, okay. So you want me to take that over to the stage? He's like, no. You do the announcements from here. I was like, announcements like, welcome to the stage, Eddie George.
Right.
And he's like, no, I got one for you right here. And he hands me a piece of paper, like ripped out of a notebook.
Right.
And it had a license plate number on it. And I was like, what is this? Like, this is your car? And he's like, no, somebody's illegally parked outside the convention center. You need to let everybody know. And I was like, you're kidding me, right? Like, this is what you want me. Like,
and I
I'm not
remember
trying to
too.
like, do you know who I am? But
No.
like, I was so shocked. Like, this was not what I had signed up for. So I had to get on the mic with Barry.
I remember also because like Kajana Carter and I were like, dude, speed it up. Like, get to the
Illinois plate, Johnny 05. You are illegally parked. Please move your car. And then every like 5 minutes, I had to be like, the Big Ten, thanks, Dr. Pepper, for being here.
You went and drank. Remember you did the Dr. Pepper taste test.
That was the only good thing about it. I probably drank thousands of ounces
like
of
Forrest
Dr.
Gump.
Pepper. Yeah. Like I was like this by the end of it.
You were.
Because I have no off switch with Dr. Pepper. So that did help kind of calm my my anger, but it's classic. This is what happens with you. Like, we are peers. We are on equal footing, yet people for some reason look at you and think that, okay, we need to do something special for him and just forget about the other guy. And it should really, if anything, it should be the other way around. Yeah.
That's the way it worked out, right?
No news on the Pacers front trade-wise.
I do recall Joey Galloway said at one point, he's like, man, that guy really nailed that Dr. Pepper read. I'm like, it's cool.
I do great work, regardless of what it is. I mean, I excel in every area. Our mutual friend, Bob Kravitz of The Athletic, reported over the weekend that the Lakers-Pacers talks went nowhere because while the Lakers wanted to attach one first-round pick onto the Russell Westbrook contract, he's got $47 million due for him this year. It is an expiring deal. For Miles Turner and Buddy Hield, the Pacers wanted the second first-round pick. And we're talking way in the future. I mean, this is a 2027 and a 2029.
That's the problem.
First-round pick. I would do that deal, though, for 2 first-rounders because I'm thinking to myself, hey, they're going to be in the post-LeBron era at that point. But you know what?
True, but Derek, here's the thing. If you're Kevin Pritchard, you're Chad Buchanan, you're looking at it and you're like, am I going to make a move that is going to bring assets to this franchise 6 years from now?
But you can use those assets this summer. You know what I mean?
You can
use those right away for other
trades.
I get it.
Apparently I'm an idiot Because I was under the assumption if the Pacers acquired Russell Westbrook that they would play him this year.
Oh, no. I don't think he'd play 1 second. You don't want him eating minutes from
That's it.
somebody that's part of your future.
That's it.
What's odd to me is that I shouldn't have done this. I went down the Twitter rabbit hole with the Lakers fans, like Lakers Twitter and their reporters. And they're like, well, you're only getting 1 first-round pick. I mean, Russ had 17, 7, and 7 last year. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You guys watch a game last year? Like, it's the most hollow 17, 7, and 7 ever. And you're not trading to play him.
And something happened with him, too, where he just fell off a cliff. I mean, Derek, it's bizarre because he's been a great player.
He's just a bad fit there.
But, I mean, man, he looked lost last year.
He's a bad fit in a lot of places. He's the kind
is.
of guy you need to cater everything around. But to me, the Lakers have to attach the first-round pick just to get out from under the Russ deal.
I thought you said
I was looking at it as...
Did you tell me you were proficient at flies?
Yeah, I need him to land. He hasn't landed yet. He's just been... I mean, there he goes. There we go back there. So Russ in the number 1 is just to get rid of Russ.
Do you have any potato salad?
Then you give up Hield. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say that Buddy Hield is a great player. He's not. But Buddy Hield is a useful NBA player.
He is.
He's a useful NBA player who the Pacers can use. Miles Turner is a useful NBA player. I'm not going to give that up for free. Now, are both of those guys worth the number 1 together? I don't know, maybe. I mean, Karis LeVert was worth the number 1. Karis LeVert's not that good of a player.
Right.
And there have been some other examples across the NBA landscape. So I think the Pacers are right. They have all the leverage. The Pacers could very easily carry Hield and Turner into this season and be fine. Lakers.
It just landed.
Where is he?
Your shoulder. Other side.
This side?
Yeah.
I don't want to hit the microphone too.
No. Shh. Towards your back.
Towards my back?
Other side.
Which side are you talking about? Because I did the other one.
Your right side. Yes, that's right.
Okay. He's on my shoulder?
Yeah.
Right now?
Yep. He's over there somewhere. He was never on your shoulder. I've never seen you so stoic over anything in your life.
I'll laugh that one off. Do not do that again. Yeah, don't do that again.
The only time I've seen you more serious is when you stole that guy's Do Not Disturb sign off his hotel room after you had 7 Manhattans at the Final Four.
Why do you make up that story? Like, I was feeling pretty good in New Orleans. I did not have 7 Manhattans.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
was not drinking.
You ripped off some guy's Do Not Disturb sign and spiked it like Gronkowski.
No, I did not do that.
And said, "Don't mess with Derek Schultz."
That's not what happened. That is not my memory of what happened that night.
Okay. Well, it's mine. I think yours might have been a bit altered.
That was over 10 years ago. You know that?
Was it really?
Yeah. That was the spring of 2012 when we were down there in New Orleans. So getting back to it, I think the Pacers were right. They have the leverage. The Lakers need to move on from Russ.
Right.
The Pacers don't absolutely have to move on from
The Pacers are in a good
here.
position, Derek, because they got cap space.
Yeah.
They have good young pieces, and they don't have a lot of expectation this year, right?
They can take on a bad deal.
Yeah.
I just don't know if Russ is the worst deal that's out there. So
the Pacers, I will say this. Listen, I get it. People want wins, and they want relevance. I totally get it. But the Pacers have done a remarkable job in a 2-year stretch of completely flipping the direction and the promise of their franchise. They went from a team that was playing – I'm not trying to throw Nate Bjorkgren under the bus here, but the way they were built.
I forgot about Nate Bjorkgren.
They went from a team that was built around throwing the ball inside in a half-court set to their 2 best offensive players being low-post players to and didn't have a lot of flexibility, a young coach and who knew what they were doing roster-wise, to now, 2 years later, being a team that has 3 or 4 very promising sub-23-year-old players and a veteran head coach who's won an NBA title and hasn't won a playoff series in a long time, but I think knows – and a ton of cap space. So they've done a good job.
They have. They've done a good job playing the cards that they've – I don't know. It's not all bad luck. The injury stuff was certainly bad luck, but playing kind of the hand that they've been dealt. I mean, there are people, Jake, and I think these people are wrong, but there are people that believe that core with LeVert and Warren and Brogdon, if they were all healthy, Sabonis, like that would have been like a contending team. And I just I don't see it at all.
By the way, this is speaking of seeing it,
I
you
think,
see this right here? I don't know if I can do this.
I think that team was the 4th or 5th best team in the Eastern Conference,
you see this?
fully healthy.
We'll
never know.
This is what your eyes look like when you thought that fly was on you. Yeah. I've never seen your eyes that big in my life.
Well, I was trying to be – I'm not the fastest person in the world, but I'm very stealth. Like, I'm quick. And that's why I'm able to kill flies at a high volume because I'm
so
really
long as
fast.
they're in your vicinity.
My reflexes are very fast, yeah.
Okay.
But that actually hurt me because I was lifting all weekend, and you made me kind of slap at that right there. And I was doing back and shoulders at the JCC the other day, so it's a little sore.
Okay.
No big deal.
Time for Bite or Bowl Bleep?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Brought to you by our friends at Chateau Kitchens, chateaukitchens.com. I don't know why I'm doing this with my hands. At Chateau Kitchens on Instagram, at Chateau Kitchens on Facebook to see some of the before and after pictures. Steven is amazing. So is their entire crew of project managers. Ryan was ours, who did a great job, and their designers, Victoria.
Are they doing the basement?
Doing our kitchen. We don't know yet. They're giving us a quote on the kitchen. Yep, there it is. There's kind of the finished product there. I mean, you can see how gorgeous that is. Just really, I mean, it's immaculate. I mean, for lack of a better term, it is immaculate.
How much hair?
What they did
how much
with
hair
the shower.
did they have to take out of your
Well,
brain?
Jake, the point of the photo isn't to be like to show me with no. I mean, obviously that's very appealing too, but to show the actual shower, and it's a small space, and they made that work for my 5-year-old. That's going to be his shower through grade school. Because that's our extra bathroom, and they did an amazing
Can we
job
get
with
that off? Like, we've got monitors in here where I can see everything.
Yeah. Looks really good. So for your next project, give our friends at Chateau Kitchens a call. Or, visit them online, chateaukitchens.com. Here's what we do. I give a statement, Jake and I go back and forth, whether we buy it or it's Bowl Bleep. You ready for statement 1?
Yep.
Miles Turner will be on the Pacers opening day roster. Buy it or Bowl Bleep?
I buy it.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, we're only
I buy it.
2.5 months out.
He's in a contract year. So you might as well log him, get what you can out of him, let him continue to groom Jackson, spell him some minutes, and then flip him.
I'm not writing off that he's going to be moved, but,
right.
I think there's a 60-40 chance that he's still on the roster. How about that? So I'll buy it.
Yeah.
I'll say yes, that he's still on there. And again, I don't think that's the worst thing.
I don't disagree.
If he's healthy, I don't think Miles Turner has if he had great value, he'd have been moved already.
Right.
But I do think that he could have some more value than he has right now and get out there on the floor and show it. I don't know, Jake. I mean, maybe he shows so much that you say, hey, let's extend this guy. I don't think that's likely.
Right.
But
I would agree.
I wouldn't write that off either. That's kind of the least likely of the possible scenarios. Statement 2, Paris Campbell will be the –
Sorry. My apologies.
Paris Campbell will be the Colts' second leading receiver this year. Buy it or Bowl Bleep? Don't touch anything.
No, Bowl Bleep. Second leading receiver will be Nyheim Hines. Michael Pittman Jr. first name, Hines second, probably Mo Alley Cox third.
Well, but I'm talking
Alec Pierce fourth and Paris Campbell fifth.
I'm talking yardage though. You still think it's Hines? I mean, it might be Hines. If we're talking receptions, I think it's definitely Hines. But Campbell being a home run threat.
No, if he's healthy all the way through, then there's no reason to believe that you're wrong in that statement. But I don't know that he can be healthy. That's not a knock on him. It's just you got to go on the law of averages. So I will say Bull Schultz.
Yeah, I guess if I'm going law of averages, then yes. It's hard to say, yeah, Paris Campbell's going to play 12 games, much less Paris Campbell's going to play 17 games. Right. He is the key to unlock this offense. I really feel like, and it'll be a real bummer if we never get to see what – I mean, maybe Paris Campbell stinks, Jake. We've never talked about that. But what if Paris Campbell just stinks? He's no good. But I hope that we get to see either way, either good or bad. I hope that we end up getting to see what he's going to be. I'm not ready to say he's the second leading receiver. If he plays 17 games, then I think
Give me a wide receiver coming out of college that you thought was an absolute can't miss superstar in the NFL that never worked out. And I don't mean like a Charles Rogers that his own issues. I'm talking about just he got out there and it's like the guy just can't play.
Oh, can't play period or disappointed?
Both. I mean, either one.
Because I thought Keyshawn Johnson was going to be like this transcendent player, and he never, ever – he was a good player. He never, ever came close to being that. Man. Because there have been some big receiver busts.
I've got two that come to mind a lot. Sammy Watkins.
Yeah. Sammy Watkins kind of had his moments.
And he was dynamic in college.
Percy Harvin
okay,
was a guy that I thought could really
Peter
take
Warwick.
over and never did. Peter Warwick is a great one.
I mean,
really,
man,
any of those FSU guys.
I thought Peter Warwick was going to be a game changer.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of player that Paris Campbell reminds me of, right? A guy that you know has the ability, and you're like, just why is this not taking off? He's shown flashes.
You know who's another guy that was kind of like that? David Terrell at Michigan, I thought was going to be a big-time NFL player. And he was a first-rounder, right?
I think that's right.
Yeah, but that never ended up materializing. I think David Terrell went in the Reggie Wayne draft. I think Terrell might have been the first remember when Reggie Wayne knew all of the wide receivers off the top of his head who went in front of him? So 2001, right? NFL draft.
Let's see, 2001?
Yeah. I want to say David Terrell was like the 9th overall
Santonio
pick in that
Holmes
draft.
was in that draft, was he not?
God. That was another one that I thought was going to be Santana Moss was another guy that I thought was going to be a big
That's the one that,
that
who was it? Washington told Reggie Wayne they were going to take him, and they took Santana Moss instead.
Yeah.
The wide receivers in that draft, David Terrell went 8th overall.
Okay.
Corin Robinson went 9th.
Corin Robinson had a bunch of weed-related things that suspensions that I think slowed him down.
Rod Gardner, 15th. Santana Moss to the Jets. I'm sorry, Santana Moss,
okay, that's
16th.
What I was thinking of,
Freddie Mitchell,
oh God,
Philadelphia,
Eagles?
25th.
Freddie Mitchell talked a big game.
Reggie Wayne, 30th.
Yeah.
All right.
Did I get him?
No. Next on Biter Bull Schultz?
Did you see the fly? He was on my head.
No.
Yeah, no, he was up there. Did we get that on camera, or were you guys on Jake? Because I can't tell anymore because the program monitor's up here now.
He's still
a third statement. Kids should never be in school in the month of July. Biter Bull.
Oh, 100% buy that.
Isn't it weird?
Yeah, 100% buy
Like, you're not, I know, I hate dropping the you're not a parent card, but just being a kid that was in school. Can you imagine being in school? Like, schools probably didn't have air conditioning when you were in school, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, so
windows would be open. You could hear Mr. Greenwood mowing the lawn off somewhere in the distance, and the sound of the
maybe July
oscillating
wouldn't
fans.
be an option.
The soundtrack of my childhood.
I just remember being in, like, grade school, and we had, like, 6 oscillating fans that would be in those rooms because it'd be, like, 25 kids, and it was a sauna.
Yeah.
And that was in, like, late August.
Now, I just remember when school got out for the summer, saying to myself, I can't wait until the point in the summer where I don't know what day of the week it is, or what I don't know what the date is, because you're just being a kid. I don't know they even get a chance to do that now, and I get it. I mean, they get longer off; they get 3 weeks at holiday. Yeah. I mean, I get it. It's all, but still,
fall break is weird to me. The Indiana fall break phenomenon. Like, I have friends that take their kids on vacation like October 17th, and I'm like, guys, do you really need to go to Florida? Summer was like 5 minutes ago. Do you really need to go to Florida in October?
I'm
it's
going
so weird
on vacation October 26th.
Yeah?
I probably should let you know that. October 26th to November 2nd.
Okay. I'll have to bring somebody in. So it'll have to be somebody and Schultz. We had Nick Yeoman fill in admirably for me while you were gone. I'll find somebody to fill in.
Okay.
Maybe we'll get, depending on how Texas football does this year and the Astros. So contingent on those, I'm not going to bring. I'm not bringing Corey in here if they win the World Series.
Great.
No, I'm not bringing Corey in here if Texas is like like 8-0 or something, and the Astros have won the World Series. I'm absolutely not bringing Corey in here. But our buddy Corey Elliott,
it's great dude,
WGU Indiana. Perfect. I'll ask him if he wants to come in.
He could come in the Sage outfit,
but that is dependent on where his sports teams. Was it on my head again?
No,
Did you see it?
No, you didn't get it. No.
Okay.
You're starting to hallucinate.
He's on my
now.
head again.
No, it's in your head, actually.
No, it was on top of my head. Did we get that?
In your head.
No, it was on top of my head.
You're starting to get a bald spot there, though.
No, it's actually filling in. I'm glad that you said that. I think the light is right on it, so it looks like it.
Filling in?
This is all hair.
Okay.
This is all hair. I started putting that stuff. I told you, Keeps. They're not a sponsor of the show. I started putting that stuff in the winter of 2020. And I showed you the before and after pictures because I tried to get you to do it because you were worried about losing some back there. And it's been phenomenal.
I've given up. I mean,
yeah, it looks great. I mean, you got to remember, you're 55, 56, whatever you are.
I'll be 50 in September, Derek. Thank you.
Well, whatever it is.
Right.
But we'll get Corey in here for your vacation thing.
There he goes.
Thanks to Chateau Kitchens.
Just went past.
ChateauKitchens.com, at Chateau Kitchens, Instagram, and Facebook.
The center camera, Derek, is where you want to look.
Great weekend in Iowa, not just because DJ Query was there, but Hy-Vee sponsorship activation.
Knocked it out of the park.
Unfortunately, the worst part about it was how it ended. A scary situation with Joseph Newgarden. We'll have the latest on that. We'll talk some IndyCar. And speaking of WGU and Corey, our Sage Move of the Week all comes your way next here on Corey and Schultz, ISC Sports Network.
College wasn't built for me.
It didn't care if I had to work a double shift.
Or if my kid had a fever.
Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
I want to take tests when I'm ready.
I want to take courses on my time.
And speed up when I know my stuff.
I want a university that cares about me.
Tests on your time, courses on your time, graduate on your time. WGU, the nonprofit university of you.
Hey, I'm Jeff Saturday, and my favorite thing when I was a professional football player was Indiana. The Hoosier State always made me feel like family. That's why I trust Indiana's hometown mortgage lender, Bailey & Wood. This family-owned company not only gives back to the communities they serve, but also with their 5-star customer service, they can close on your dream home in days, not weeks. So remember, Indiana, you can always get your mortgages at a snap with Bailey & Wood.
Hey, Jeff, how does this look? Yay!
Not bad, bud, but let's stick to mortgages.
Welcome back. Corey and Schultz, ISC Sports Network. Thanks to Sean Walker. Thanks to our buddy Greg Rakestraw for being on the opposite side of the glass and helping us out today. Jordan and Alan, who are usually kind of controlling things. I mean, we have Rake on graphics pretty much every week, but Jordan and Alan, who are usually back here with us, setting up for a Little League event for ISC Sports Network. We got the state championships in Newcastle coming up Tuesday and Wednesday. So another ISC Sports Network plug. And Little League dear to my heart, being from Trumbull, Connecticut, of course, the famous home of the 1989 Little League World Champions, one of the great moments in American modern sports history.
Speaking of which,
in international competition.
Speaking of which, Derek, before we get to our WGU Sage Move of the Week, brought to you by WGU Indiana, which, by the way, 700,000 Hoosiers have college credits sitting there that they never went back and finished. I'm actually one of them. Or it might be that you were looking to get a degree for the very first time, setting out on that venture, or perhaps a job certification. WGU Indiana is Indiana's largest online accredited university because ambition never rests. You can work on your schedule. Work online, start a degree, finish a degree, get a certification, whatever it might be. What better place to do it than the fantastic education, highly reputable, and again, accredited education that comes with WGU Indiana. That's wgu.edu/Indiana to find out more about all of their programs. They'll bring us upcoming our Sage Move of the Week. I'm going to put a trivia question to you real quick, Derek, to the test. You ready?
Okay, 11:47 p.m.
You mentioned that is not correct. You mentioned the 80s. I was in my hotel room in Newton, Iowa on Saturday night, flipping the channels, and on CNN, I think it was, they have that program called The 90s. It's just all about the 90s.
I've seen it, yeah.
And it dawned on me. What are the most iconic images of the 90s? And by that, I mean a combination of moments, but moments that have an image that is immediately linked to it. Like when you see either a still photo from the video of it or a photo itself, you know exactly what moment it is. I actually came up with 9 of them off the top of my head. How many can you name?
Oh, that are just very, very 1990s?
I mean, like when I show you these, you're going to go, yep, I know exactly what those are. You want? I've got 4 of them right here.
I mean, I'm thinking like tragic stuff, like
some of it's
the
tragic.
Oklahoma City bombing.
But there's no image to that, though. I mean, I guess there is.
Yeah,
maybe,
I guess you're right.
Okay, here's 4 of them right there.
Okay. So, 96 Atlanta Olympics, the beating of Rodney King, the shot by Leitner, and George Bush announcing the Iraq War?
Correct.
Is that what that? Okay.
That's correct.
I was a little young for that, but I just kind of put 2 and 2 together.
There's 4 more. Tell me if you agree.
Yep. Jordan winning his first title. Buster Douglas.
Yep.
The OJ trial, and Magic announcing that he has HIV.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then the last 4, you ready? 2 of these are, I think, the biggest.
Bill Clinton, I think it was, I did not have sexual
Correct.
relations with that woman. The Michael Jordan shrug against the Blazers in 92. The car chase and the glove did not fit.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard to argue, though.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, when you're talking the 90s, I'm not surprised that there were, 3 OJ images in there?
Isn't that amazing?
I mean, you could even do the cover of Newsweek, right? Or Life
Yeah,
magazine,
you're right.
because that was such an iconic, his mugshot, because they darkened it and the whole deal. It was an interesting time because, you were kind of, I was still pretty young during the
Right.
90s. I mean, that would have been 8 through high school, essentially, for me, whereas that would have been kind of your coming of age a little bit years.
I think the easiest way to say it is the O.J. Simpson trial, Derek, during the respective ages that we were. I mean, at the time that he was acquitted, I had just turned 23.
I was in 7th grade.
So you were still at the age of learning how the world is supposed to be, and I was at the age of grasping how the world really is.
Yeah.
Based on that event. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do remember, I have a lot of memories of that trial and the Rodney King video. Yep. I remember seeing, my parents didn't shield me from that stuff, even though I would have been, 10, 11. The verdict happened when I was 13. I mean, I remember watching the Knicks-Rockets game getting interrupted for the OJ chase and all of that. But also, the 90s were kind of this time. It's hard to explain to anybody what time was like before 9/11 and the post-politicization, for lack of, I can't even say that word, of what it's become now.
Right.
Where, I mean, I remember we used to have mock elections and one of us would run as the Republican and one of us would run as the Democrat. And in school, that wasn't like this combative thing. And now, can you imagine a school doing that now? I mean, forget it. You made my kid be the Republican nominee, or you made my kid,
right.
you know what
You're
I mean?
right.
You never get away with that now. So it was a much different time, for sure.
Derek, in terms of our Sage Move of the Week, brought to you by WGU Indiana, we had mentioned the fact that we're going to get to IndyCar over the weekend. Mine actually plays into that, but your nominee for the Sage Move of the Week is what?
It's IndyCar related. I mean, I think Hy-Vee embracing the IndyCar series is the move.
That's exactly right.
Right? What was it, $10 million?
So Hy-Vee, I believe it's a 3-year contract. Let me tell you a quick thing. Graham Rahal was telling me that Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan Racing is probably the best team in terms of going out and shaking the bushes and finding sponsors and getting them engaged in racing. And Graham Rahal is really good at it. I mean, Turns for Our Troops and, Fleet Care and Cost and
I remember the
United
Steak and
Reynolds,
Shake.
Steak and Shake.
He's had on his fire suit.
A ton of them. And Hy-Vee, a couple of years ago, I don't even know what race it was, but Graham had Hy-Vee as a sponsor. And after the race, he mentioned him in the post-race. Hey, I want to thank Hy-Vee for being on board. And apparently the CEO of Hy-Vee saw that and said, oh, my gosh, I've never heard an athlete give us praise like that. So, boom, a relationship was born with the series. The Iowa race has been on the IndyCar schedule, and then it fell off the schedule and probably was not going to be back on the schedule until Hy-Vee, which is based in Iowa, 900,000 employees nationwide. It's an employee-owned business. And Hy-Vee, which is now opening a location in the northwest side of Indianapolis. And it's a I went into the one in Des Moines, in downtown Des Moines. I mean, it's a nice grocery store. It's cool. You will love it. And I'm not just saying that. Look, they're not paying me anything. It's really nice. It's a fabulous place. They decided that they wanted to link up with IndyCar to brand themselves. Hy-Vee, and what I believe is a 3-year partnership, don't quote me on the number of years, but a multi-year deal with Iowa Speedway. They're the title sponsor. They put chalet, temporary suite chalets in both turns 1 and 4. They had multiple miniature grocery stores on site at the track. For people that camped out, you could basically do a DoorDash of which was another sponsor of the race, of their goods to your campsite. I'm in spot 38 and I need charcoal and that. Boom, they'd bring it to you. They brought in, Derek, on Saturday before the race, Tim McGraw gave a concert. It was 104 degrees, 114 with heat index, and he still played for an hour. After the race, Florida Georgia Line performed. Mm-hmm. Then Sunday before the race, Gwen Stefani, that you see right here, performed. After the race, Blake Shelton. Sunday was basically sold out. I mean, they sold out, but every seat was full. Saturday, I realized because of the heat, I think there were some people that went out to their cars, whatnot. I get it. but it was fabulous. It was the definition of sponsor activation. This is what IndyCar needs. They need companies like this to get on board and say, we are going to utilize this to get our name out there. Hy-Vee's name was all over the place. There are a lot of people probably because Hy-Vee is based almost exclusively in Iowa, Illinois, basically the Plains, South Dakota. And, they're expanding now, and this gets their name out there. But kudos, credit, thumbs up, and thank you to Hy-Vee, IndyCar, Rahal Letterman. It was fantastic.
I feel like IndyCar needed this anywhere. I feel like they especially needed a sponsor to do this at an oval race.
Correct.
Because it feels like when they've had great sponsorship activation and they've had great crowds and great reception, it's been the road and streets. It's been like St. Pete and, places like that. So I was thrilled to see how excited everybody was. And obviously you had a lot of people going from central Indiana. It's a 5-hour drive or whatever it is to go out there. But Hy-Vee just gets it. Like, this isn't just one of those things, yeah, fine, we'll sponsor it. Who cares?
Oh, no, yeah.
They wanted to be really a part of it. And I just think that it's one of those things, Jake, like IndyCar is never going to have this massive audience. It's just not, right? But the people that are into it are really into it.
Right.
And all they ask is that the other people that are around it be into it. And so for Hy-Vee to show, hey, we're as passionate about this as you guys are, I think it just kicks it up a couple of notches in fans' eyes.
I'm telling you, people that go to a Hy-Vee store when it opens here, and they may already be open in central Indiana, are going to be like, whoa, it's nice.
I'm actually a little bit surprised that it's such a competitive market, I feel like, here. We've got Myers and Kroger's and Fresh Times and
Are you going to call it Hy-Vee's?
Yeah, we said Hy-Vee's is going to be here.
No, it's Hy-Vee.
The Hy-Vee's grocery store.
It's Hy-Vee.
Apostrophe S.
There's no apostrophe S.
I think you're. How familiar are you with Hy-Vee's? Because I've known about Hy-Vee's forever. It's always been called Hy-Vee's.
I just broadcasted back-to-back races where Hy-Vee was the title sponsor.
Hy-Vee's was the title. Yes, the Hy-Vee's Iowa Speedway. What was it? 250 or whatever it was.
H-Y-V-E-E.
The Hy-Vee's Iowa 300.
Do we have a picture anywhere of Jack Harvey's car or the logos?
I mean, you can see it up there. There's the faded. You see the apostrophe Hy-Vee's. You see the apostrophe, and then there's the S in the corner there.
What's that say right there?
Hy-Vee's. That's the S right there in the very end. Apostrophe S. You guys can see it at home as well on there.
Okay.
It's Hy-Vee's, Myers, Kroger's. I mean, Super Targets has a grocery in it.
Thank you to
Walmart's.
Hy-Vee for their participation and becoming our Sage Move of the Week.
Can't wait for Hy-Vee's here. An important anniversary. This would have just missed the 90s, but an important anniversary that Greg Rakestraw brought to my attention today that's going to be important to you. Also, semi to me. I'm a fan of this band as well, but I know you're especially going to be excited when you hear that today. Something happened today? 33 years ago. We'll talk about that. Plus, we still have Love That Play to get to and our quick hits. We had mentioned the Kevin Durant stuff. We hadn't even talked about that, so we'll get to that in a quick
33 years ago?
It's Corey and Schultz, ISC Sports Network. Stay tuned to hear what I'm talking about.
Calling in time. Oh, no! It's good.
This one is gone.
There you go.
Wow, Dawson makes a great catch.
Spin, win, 3, bury it for Leland Walker.
Tie the game they do with the dunk by Malik Edmonds. What a play.
Oh, my goodness.
I feel a little momentum starting to fall Ellen's way.
Wrestler!
Wrestler! Whoa!
College wasn't built for me.
I didn't care if I had to work a double shift.
Or if my kid had a fever.
Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
I want to take tests when I'm ready.
I want to take courses on my time.
And speed up when I know my stuff.
I want a university that cares about me.
Tests on your time, courses on your time, graduate on your time. WGU, the nonprofit university of you.
Hey, I'm Jeff Saturday, and my favorite thing when I was a professional football player was Indiana. The Hoosier State always made me feel like family. That's why I trust Indiana's hometown mortgage lender, Bailey & Wood. This family-owned company not only gives back to the communities they serve, but also with their 5-star customer service, they can close on your dream home in days, not weeks. So remember, Indiana, you can always get your mortgages at a snap with Bailey & Wood.
Hey, Jeff, how does this look? Yay!
Not bad, bud, but let's stick to mortgages.
So, Derek, I am racking my brain here. You're saying something took place on July 25th of 1989?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can tell you this. That would have been the 16th birthday of my friend Anja Gupta Taylor. Is that right? Is that what it is?
No, that's not what I'm
Not
talking
Anju's
about.
birthday?
Yeah,
Okay,
this
well,
is
happy
more
birthday,
of a-
Anju.
This is less of an esoteric anniversary.
Okay.
This is more of a...
Well, musically speaking, I know that Appetite for Destruction was released 35 years ago last week.
I remember
So it's
seeing
not that.
tweets
Is it
about
Guns
that.
N' Roses related?
No.
Okay, my first guess would be that in July of 89, although I
This
think
is
I'm
right in your wheelhouse.
I think I'm early on this.
Yeah.
My first guess would be that that's when Milli Vanilli was outed.
Is
That's
it's not
fake?
Milli Vanilli.
Is it a band or is it a musical related? You said.
Yeah, it's music related.
Are they
It's
still
an album?
Okay, is this band still big?
I mean, they're still influential. One of the members is no longer with us.
Boy, would it have been the recording of Nevermind?
No. Great guess.
Because
but
that didn't
no.
release
This
until
is an
91.
actual album release, and it wasn't the first album that they released. It was one that I think hardcore fans of this act believe it's their best one, even though commercially it was not the most successful.
Is it Paul's Boutique?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 33 years ago today, July 25th, 1989 for Paul's Boutique.
For whatever reason, for a long time, I thought Paul's Boutique was actually their debut album. But I know it. I mean, I know it's not.
Yeah.
But maybe that had songs.
Well,
that
what was the chronological order then? License to Ill, Paul's Boutique, Check Your Head.
Boy, I forgot about Check Your Head.
Ill Communication.
That sounds right. Yes, that sounds right. Which one was Sabotage on? That's Ill Communication, right?
Yeah.
That's
That
after
would've
Check.
been
That's definitely after Check Your Head.
95 or 94, maybe. Ill Communication, I think, was 94.
Were you a Beastie Boys fan?
Yeah.
Mostly because he wore Knicks shirts.
So What You Want music video, he had the old school, like pre-93
By the way, I think we now have 2 flies in here.
Knicks article. What's happening? Sean, you're in here every day. Like, what's going on? You eating in here?
There are 2 now.
Yeah. I noticed that we have some of the brand fine chocolates, but this is unpackaged.
But do you blame flies?
Or
if
in the package.
I shouldn't say that, but I mean, who doesn't love the brand?
Oh, yeah.
But,
No,
you know.
everybody would love that.
Anyway.
Let's get to quick hits.
Okay.
The Celtics now in the Kevin Durant
How about that?
sweepstakes.
Jaylen Brown not happy, right?
Well, that's a nice centerpiece considering what the other centerpieces for other teams would be in a potential deal.
Man, I love Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, he's a good player. I'm not sure he's a number one.
He's pretty good, man.
But he's very good. So we'll see.
He kind of reminds me of. Do you remember, Derek, in the LeBron sweepstakes year of 2010, and your free agents? I don't remember who. But at that time, the great players were LeBron, and Bosh was obviously a great player, and Wade was a great player, and Joe Johnson was like in that tier right underneath it, and Amari Stoudemire.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown kind of feels like that tier, just below. Really good player, but not in the upper stratosphere.
And that's what I mean. Like Joe Johnson is not. If Joe Johnson's your best player, you're not going anywhere. If he's your number two, you're probably really good.
Right.
Amari.
But when Jason Tatum was having off nights, Jaylen Brown, man, he can pick up some slack.
Yeah,
I'm telling
very
you.
good. Very good. Something to keep an eye on with the Durant deal. We'll see what happens. I think it's still the most likely is that he's just back in Brooklyn next year.
I would agree.
XFL announces their cities for the 2023 season. I'm a little bit surprised. Did they really need 3 of the 8 teams to be in Texas?
I saw that. But I mentioned this earlier. Washington and St. Louis both make sense. Washington got good attendance in the first go-round of the XFL because there were so many people in the D.C. area that were so fed up with Daniel Snyder.
Oh, wow. I didn't think about that.
And then St. Louis, once the Rams left, St. Louis got good attendance. So the Battle Hawks or whatever they were called, they got good attendance.
Like, maybe they didn't want to do Birmingham because of the USFL, but I feel like that would be a great –
I would agree. That'd be a
what
good
if
market.
you just put a team in, like, Jackson, Mississippi?
I've always
would they
wondered
even
that.
have a facility there? But wouldn't fans? Don't you think like in the
You
or
would
like
think. I don't
Little
know.
Rock, Arkansas?
Right. You're right.
We always hear about Southern football fans. They care so much. Like I know these aren't big metropolises, but
I hear you.
couldn't you put a team down there? I just found it odd that they put 3 teams in Texas and then they had somebody out in Seattle.
I mean, there's got to be a method to the madness, right?
Head coach list includes Bob Stoops, who'll be the head coach of the Arlington team, Hines Ward in San Antonio, and Rod Woodson, Fort Wayne
how about
guy,
Rod
Purdue
Woodson?
guy, Las Vegas will be the head coach there.
It's a nice shirt.
Despite finishing third, Chase Elliott wins at Pocono. That's because Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin
They got called to the principal's office, Derek.
failed inspection.
Cheaters never win.
And quick hit number 3, former Laker Slava. I used to know how to say his last name, but now I don't know. Medvedenko. Medvedenko.
Okay.
Medvedenko.
Right.
Medvedenko.
Okay.
Medvedenko. I've heard of him. Had
Slava
you heard of him?
Medvedenko?
Yeah, he hadn't played in like 20 years.
Yeah, Slava Medvedenko.
Yeah.
Sure.
43 years old now. He was on those Lakers teams like Kobe and Shaq and Brian Shaw. He is going to sell his championship rings to raise money for his home country of Ukraine. Kind of a cool thing.
That is.
SCP Auctions donating the entire final sale price of both rings to his Fly High Foundation. The goal is to support Ukrainian children by restoring the sports infrastructure of the war-torn country's schools and launching a network of social
You would
sports
hope
clubs.
that a Shaq or someone like that. Which teams was he on?
Shaq?
No, Slava Medvedenko.
He was on the 01 and 02 team, so 2 of the 3-peat teams.
So you would hope that somebody on, whether it be Rick Fox or Shaq
Would
or somebody
match it.
would buy it and then give him the ring back.
Oh, that'd be kind of a nice thing to do.
This is a fabulous shirt.
Has there been an IndyCar, like Indy 500 Ukrainian? I know there have been Russians.
I don't think there's been
like
a
Aloshin
Ukrainian.
and
Yeah, I don't think
guys
there's
like
been a
that.
Ukrainian.
Okay. I just didn't know. I figured you would know.
I don't believe so.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, I guess you don't hear too often from the old like Soviet bloc countries.
Well, I
in
mean,
that sport,
there would
right?
be, exactly. I mean, there could be people that were from that region,
Yeah, but not specifically Ukraine.
By the way, time for our Love That Play, brought to you by the good guys at Love Heating and Air. These are fabulous.
Oh
new
wait, we're gonna
shirts
do
from
that
Love.
last segment.
Okay, then we're gonna do it next.
So
but I
let's
wanted to show up the
let's
shirt.
toss
Can I
it
show
to
up
the
the
last
shirt?
segment.
Can I
Yeah,
talk
you can.
about the
You have
shirt?
the notes right in front of you. It says segment 5. Love.
No, I didn't.
That play.
Look, here's the notes. Do you see anything
Got
that
it
says
wrong.
segment 5?
Just like your high V's, you get a lot wrong today.
Okay. Well, Love's is a truck stop. Love is a fabulous heating and air. Love-HVAC.com, 317-353-2141. Who exactly are they? What exactly are they? And why are they here? We'll tell you that next on Query and Schultz.
Look at that.
Yeah, look at that, huh? That segue's beautiful, Derek.
Not bad.
Hey, I'm Jeff Saturday, and my favorite thing when I was a professional football player was Indiana. The Hoosier State always made me feel like family. That's why I trust Indiana's hometown mortgage lender, Bailey & Wood. This family-owned company not only gives back to the communities they serve, but also with their 5-star customer service, they can close on your dream home in days, not weeks. So remember, Indiana, you can always get your mortgages at a snap with Bailey & Wood.
Hey, Jeff, how does this look? Yay!
Not bad, bud, but let's stick to mortgages.
College wasn't built for me.
I didn't care if I had to work a double shift.
Or if my kid had a fever.
Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
I'm going to take tests when I'm ready.
I want to take courses on my time.
And speed up when I know my stuff.
I want a university that cares about me.
Tests on your time, courses on your time, graduate on your time. WGU, the nonprofit university of you.
Your life is on the go. Now your viewing habits can be on the go. With the ISC Sports Network app, your team is at your fingertips. You can download years' worth of content from the ISC Sports Network library. High school, college, special events, weekly and monthly shows. Wherever you find your favorite app, And you can always find out more information at iscsportsnetwork.com.
Back for a final time here on Query and Schultz. Let's get right to it. I went down to the east side, 10th Street to be exact, the 100-plus year home of Love Heating and Cooling, to pick up that shirt last week.
Beautiful, isn't it?
And they're great. Chris left that at the front desk for me. Chris and John Love.
They're optimistic. They gave you a large.
Love Heating and Cooling. I think they saw my arms, and that's just what they assumed was the size that I was wearing. Love-HVAC.com, 353-2141 for our friends at Love Heating and Cooling, and they bring you every week on our show, Love That Play. Did I get it?
No.
Was it on my forehead?
Not even close.
Okay. Every time I feel something now, I think it's a fly.
You're hallucinating again.
Well, there are two flies in here, so I just keep thinking that they're landing on me. Baseball Hall of Fame weekend is nostalgia for me because I had family in Cooperstown all during the 90s, so we went every year to Hall of Fame
Isn't
weekend.
that where you got attacked by fireworks?
I got attacked by fireworks. I got stung by a bee 15 times after getting Mike Schmidt's autograph on a golf course. Like, I had a lot of injuries in Cooperstown. Yeah.
Okay.
My dad threw in a gross of bottle rockets into a campfire and said, run. And I was running through the high grass. My uncle had like 10 acres of property or something, this big plot. Cooperstown's the middle of nowhere. I don't know if people realize that. Like, upstate New York is gigantic.
Right.
People think New York is just like New York City. No, you can get out into the sticks in New York, and it's like being, in middle of nowhere, Indiana. But anyway, I'm running through, and the bottle rockets was going crazy. And one of them singed off my eyebrow. And so the rest of the summer of 95, I had one eyebrow. It was horrible.
What'd your dad say about it?
Huh?
He didn't feel
Well,
it?
my mom was real upset. Not at me, at my dad. My dad is kind of a pyro.
Apparently.
Yeah, a little bit of one. David Ortiz's acceptance speech I thought was really cool. He's one of those guys that, even though I hate the Red Sox, he was impossible not to like, right?
Looks like David Ortiz has painted on eyebrows.
A little bit, yeah. Just a hard guy not to like. He has a great smile, a fantastic player, but really, pound for pound, and this is a small sample size, but one of the greatest World Series performances of all time. He played in 14 World Series games. You want to guess what his batting average was in those games?
328.
455.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he was the MVP of the 2013 World Series. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah,
I know we're
that
talking
is.
about a small sample size, but batting 455 in the World Series. And he was part of the group that changed the entire narrative about that franchise. Like, if you're 15 years old right now, you think of the Red Sox as one of the great franchises in baseball.
Right.
When I was 15, the Red Sox were known – they were the Cubs.
Yeah, they were the
You know what
lovable
I mean?
losers
Like,
of the
yeah.
AL, right.
And it's just completely flipped the script on them, and Ortiz was a big part of that.
By the way, congratulations also, Gil Hodges, born in southern Indiana.
That's right, Indiana native, yeah.
Yep,
It's
Princeton,
been good.
Indiana.
These guys have been waiting for a long time, and unfortunately, in a lot of cases, posthumously.
Right.
Like Bud Fowler, the first African-American player in the 1880s in baseball, got inducted. Jim Cott, who was a great player for a long time, had to wait for a long time. He got in too, so that's good to see. I always love going up to Cooperstown for Hall of Fame weekend. It was really
That would
special.
be cool.
Yeah.
Why don't you go back? Don't you still have family there?
It's the middle of nowhere. You got to like fly into Albany and then drive. It's hard to get to.
Okay.
Very difficult to do. But my Aunt Jan and Uncle Dan are still there. Retired.
He was a doctor, right?
Yeah, gyno.
Okay.
Yeah. Deliver babies.
He didn't deliver you?
He did, actually.
He did?
Yeah. Which I always thought was kind of weird, but I guess, back in the 80s, that's what people
Well,
used to
it's your mother's brother-in-law, right?
do. Yeah. A
Okay.
little odd. Love Heating and Cooling. Thanks to them. Thanks to Chateau Kitchens, Bailey and Wood Financial Group, Lou Malnati's Pizzeria for their great pies. And I don't want to forget about our friends at Chateau Kitchens. We'll be back next week talking more Colts here on the show. And Training Camp, you're doing the radio show from there, aren't you? Oh, God, I thought you were going to throw that at me.
Tomorrow.
Thanks to Sean Walker and Greg Rakestraw as well. It's Query and Schultz, ISC Sports Network. We will see you next week. See, I can do
caught
that too.
Yeah, but I caught it. Unlike you with the fly.
College wasn't built for me.
I didn't care if I had to work a double shift.
Or if my kid had a fever.
Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
I want to take tests when I'm ready.
I want to take courses on my time.
And speed up when I know my stuff.
I want a university that cares about me.
Tests on your time, courses on your time, graduate on your time. WGU, the nonprofit university of VU.
Throw it up for Tillman.
Whoa. My goodness. 122.60 for Penn.
What a swim!
Six of them.